What is going on, everybody? It is the first event with the S550 rear end subframe swap at lovely New Jersey Motorsports Park. So yeah, we're gonna shake this car down and kind of see how the new tires, subframe swap, all that stuff works out. Alright, so if you've been following me for a little bit, you know we just got done doing, let's see if we can see it, the S550 subframe in the back of this car. Whole bunch of videos on it if you're interested in that. Aerodynamically, the car is a mess. As you can tell, there's no diffuser on it anymore. Going from the solid axle to this, you know, I'm just going to make myself a whole new diffuser to fit around this rear end. No floor. And with no floor, there's nothing in this area, which isn't good, which is also an issue in the front. Once we flared this for the wider tires, we now have like this spot, which just isn't good. But, you know, we're here to kind of shake down the rear end, see how that all kind of works out. The first session is in a couple of minutes. I mean, the car, it's about as ready as it's going to be, so let's see what happens. Alright guys, session one is done. Best was a 127.5. I gotta go back and look. I think I only ever did like a high 26 here before. I mean, the car felt good. A little bit of a vibration coming from the rear end, it felt. Not sure if it was a tire or just the fact that like the diff is now mounted solidly to the car. It's just a new feeling for me. But yeah, oh, the grip, oh my goodness, the grip. So yeah, the car felt good. I'm gonna go look over tires. That was kind of just like a first shakedown test. And oh look, you can see that the tire moved on the rim. I guess it's still pretty lined up. But yeah, rear end felt pretty good. Brakes are obviously working since the rust is off. So yeah, for our first session, I did, I don't know, maybe 10 laps and kind of just started pushing on those last ones before the black flag came out. So I'm gonna check the car over and get ready for the next session. Alright guys, so quick recap. Even though I came off track and everything cooled down a little bit, I did temperatures just for fun. I think I'm okay. I might be a tiny bit over cambered, but at the same time I wasn't really pushing on the car, so I wasn't leaning quite as much. But something that's kind of interesting, if you look at the rears, you know, we ended up rotating the wheel that much. Same thing on the other side. If you look how much this one moved, you know, but the fronts, however, you know, barely moved at all. So I'm almost wondering if, like, you know I have more rear brake. In a previous video I mentioned with the S550 calipers, we get about 15% more force, plus the larger diameter rotor gives us another 15%, so we got about 30% more rear brake. I didn't tinker with the knob or anything. I mean, you know, everything right now is feeling pretty good. So yeah, a little bit of scraping in a turn one. Might tinker with like shock settings or check my shims. But yeah, we're gonna get ready for session two. Oh, the other quick note is, if you remember back to episode 1 of this S550 swap, I got a differential with 355s in it. The old solid axle had 327s. So honestly, my shift points, I don't have to go down 2 into 1. And then but I do have to hit 5th before turn 4, and then the back, it gets a little bit funny too, so I kind of have to like relearn my shift points as well. But given all that at 27.5, I'm freaking excited. This is awesome. Alright guys, so session 2 is in the books and dropped another 2.5 seconds. I'm down to a 125.0 with a little bit of traffic. So definitely happy with that. Car felt good. Honestly, second session out, I don't know if it's like, I still got to push it more before I really tinker with stuff. I know the splitter is scraping into 1. I don't know if I mentioned it in the previous clips, but I upped the rear rebound a little bit and tightened the front compression, so that way the car won't really pitch forward so much. I might kind of do a few more turns on that. But yeah, otherwise, I mean, the wheel, this is funny. I mentioned this earlier. You can see how much that moved. That stripe used to be lined up with the stem, but that's in the direction of the wheel accelerating, which is weird. I would have thought under braking it would have kind of backed a little bit, but I guess it's moving under acceleration, which is, I never kind of really knew that. And I'm at like 330 horsepower right now. So yeah, I think I might do a few things. Replace my splitter biscuits. I know I point these out in a lot of where are they? Might not be able to see it, but they're on my website. Shameless plug, I'll tag them or link them below. But yeah, they kind of save your splitter from the carbon smashing into the ground. Honestly, yeah, I just gonna kind of peek the car over again. Oh, this is what I did. So I hopped out, you saw, and right in hot pits, I ended up doing all my temps and pressures and everything. If you look at it, I think I might actually be underinflated. So these tires being 315s, the same force is over a larger surface area and having more volume. I don't think they don't raise in pressure as much as the Toyos that I'm used to. So my starting pressure I think might be a little bit higher than I am. The rears, I definitely got a little too much camber in the rear, because you can see I'm 192 on the inner. Pressures look good, maybe a little bit low, starting pressures. So anyways, I'm kind of just trying to like figure this out. These tires and obviously the rear end are all new. Session 3 is coming up soon, so I'll make those few adjustments and see what we can do then. Alright guys, session 3 is done. Yeah, a lot of fun. I got down to a 124.3, so I'm now well ahead of the quickest I've ever gone here. Now I'm sure the question a lot of people have is like, how much of that speed increase? Gotta wait for cars. Now I'm sure a question a lot of people have is how much of that speed increase is the tires or the S550 subframe or the 355 gears versus the old gears, and honestly I don't know. I think the tires are the majority of it, because I could have put these tires on the old setup and went much quicker. And maybe not much quicker, but quicker. But obviously the rear end and the gears help as well, so it's kind of all getting that package together. So yeah, super happy with a 24.3. That means there's a 23 in the car, for sure. I'm getting a little bit light on gas, but yeah, we got one more session today. I want to shoot for that 23. The splitter is doing something weird. Well, not the splitter, the car itself, I guess. Going up over turn 4, you hit the hump after 3, and the front porpoises a little bit, and then going through turn 4, the splitter will actually, I'll hear the biscuits scrape on the ground, and as soon as that happens, the car jumps to the left. So it's blocking off all of that airflow under the splitter. So I got to do something where the front left is scraping. What I might do is lower the right rear spring perch, which would actually raise the front left corner a tiny bit. So I'm kind of undoing my corner balance a little bit. Or I could put more shock shims in. So I might kind of just try to eke up on it and come down an eighth in the right rear and then put an extra shock shim on the front left. Because if I can hammer through 4 a little bit harder, there's a couple tenths there, no problem. So yeah, that 23 is within reach for sure. And then one last thing, I did do temperatures again, and I'm within like a few degrees. So this tire, only about 10 degrees difference. I did put air in it, but we're still light in the center. So I think what I'm gonna do is add a tiny bit of camber on this front left. The front right, on the other hand, I'll show you those numbers. So 33, 40, 87, you know, that's a, what's that, 55, 54, I can't do math that quick, degree difference. That's a little bit more extreme. So I might actually pull a little bit out of that one. So the cambers, mess with the spring perch. I might tighten up the front shocks to help with that porpoising issue. But yeah, these are all those things I gotta kind of like fine tune in on, and I don't want to make too many changes at once because then you don't really know which one does what. So yeah, I'm going to kind of make a few of these changes and get ready for the last session of the day. So there's a comp school going on today. That's what's going on right now. So if you want to come racing with NASA, go to the website and see when the comp schools are. But back to the car. Real quick run through what I did, because I'll probably forget, and I'm going to watch my own video to remember what I did. I did a tiny bit more camber on this side based on the numbers. Didn't measure it, just went in, I don't know, 2 millimeters at the top of the strut. I did shock shims on both of them, and for those of you who are newish, you can kind of see them in there, that blue stack right there. So it's just like a little horseshoe that clips around the shaft of the shock, so the car can't compress too much and slam the splitter into the ground. 2 new splitter biscuits, that one and that one, were ground down. The left side gets ground down a lot more at this track. And then I put like 3 gallons of gas in it. I think that's it. So yeah, last session of the day. It's kind of cool out, so you know, might be good for lap times. Try and shoot for that 23. If I don't get it, whatever, I'm still much quicker. And yeah, so tomorrow is practice qualifying race, so yeah, see what happens. Alright guys, 23.5. I'm freaking excited. I did not think I would get near that type of lap time coming here today, shaking this thing down. The benefits, obviously the tires and the subframe swap, the gears. The downside, like I mentioned really early in this video, I'm missing a lot of my Aero, so that's kind of hurting me a little bit. Oh, and power. ST2, this car is now a legit ST2 car, no going back to American Iron. I gotta do the math, but I think I'm something like 50-60 horsepower under what I could have for ST2. You know, so you add all that stuff in, and man, this thing, yeah, I'm super happy with how today went. Tonight, gonna look over some data, and then tomorrow we got practice, and then, you know, everything after that starts counting for something. What is going on, everybody? It's now Saturday, day 2 here at New Jersey Motorsports Park. I don't think I'm really gonna make any changes to the car. It felt really good. The only thing I'm gonna do is this splitter rod. I'll put a tag up here to the video of me making these, but you can see this little slot cut right here, and then there's like a gap and a spring inside of this outer sleeve, and you can actually see that it moves, it gives in an upward direction. So that's a pretty cool video if you want to watch that. What I'm going to do is kind of pre-tension these to lift the splitter up, because I'm still getting really bad scraping. Only a 1/16 or an 1/8 of an inch. I'm going through splitter biscuits kind of quick, but I mean, this track is just bumpy. I don't want to raise the splitter too much, because then I'm kind of sacrificing performance. So yeah, I'm just gonna kind of do that and, you know, go out. That's about it for this session. Alright guys, so practice went pretty good. I was only able to get down to a 26.1. Mark Petronas did a 24.7 and Phillips did a 24.0, I think it was. But I didn't get any like clean laps, plus it's practice. So I stayed out the whole time just to kind of get familiar with who's out there with me. The comp school yesterday, there's a handful of like rookies. So, you know, it's just kind of run, see what you can kind of do in traffic type situation. So coming up next is qualifying. Don't think I'm going to touch the car, so, you know, we'll see how we do on that. Alright guys, qualifying went pretty good. I was able to do a 25.0, so a little bit slower than yesterday, but good enough for second place overall. I'll put a little thing up on the screen. But yeah, car felt good. It rained before we went to qualifying, so I wanted to stay off of the curbs, because sometimes like the rumbles of the curbs trap water and then you hit it and you end up spinning. So yeah, super happy with that, starting second overall. The car had a little bit of a exhaust leak, so I got it lifted up. I'm going to double check. It's either the V-bands or where the downpipe goes into the turbo. They're really the only two connections. Or one of my welds may be cracked, but I got a welder, nothing I can't fix. So, you know, put gas in it, double check everything, and we'll be good to go. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Timmy! I wonder how long he's gonna sit here. Come on, Tan, do something fun. Okay. Alright, let's get ready for the race. Alright guys, so it's Sunday morning. Yesterday's race went pretty good. I'm happy with third. Not quite enough to hang in there with Mike and Mark. But yeah, definitely happy with the car's pace for sure. Probably 3/4 of the way through the race, the car got a vibration that was like really bad. Like the car was shaking so bad, like it hurt my butt in the seat. So I lifted the car up yesterday. I checked anything that like rotates. So I checked the drive shaft, the axles, the wheels. I know the wheels are like rotating on the rim off of that line. But I mean, this was like bad. So I want to try and figure that out. I'm going to rotate the wheels and see if that vibration moves with the wheel. It felt like the right rear. But, you know, otherwise just kind of do a few things to get ready and, you know, see what we can do for this qualifying. Alright guys, I think I got a bit of a problem. I'm peeking over my car. See this water dripping out and like collecting right there? I don't know if you can see it, if the light reflects off of it, but I got a puddle down there. Yesterday I noticed like kind of that same thing, but since it rained yesterday for a little bit, I just thought it was that. I checked my hoses real quick. I think it might be coming from the radiator itself, which obviously that's kind of a weekend ender. So I'm gonna pull the bumper and splitter real quick, get under there, but I got like 45 minutes till the race, so I don't know, a little bit nervous right now. Alright, with the bumper off, you can now see like the little puddle sort of, running down along this frame of the splitter, and it's wet. I don't really know what this is. This is my power steering cooler, but this corner, kind of hard to tell on camera, it's wet up in there. So I think I took like a stone or a rock that just made it through the grill, you know, the mesh, just enough. Or, you know, this radiator is pretty old anyways. I think I got a small hole in my radiator. I might try and go out and qualify. Keep a real close eye on temps. Check through it. See how much water I run through after a few laps. See if the race is doable, but yeah, this is kind of, I don't know, a little bit sketchy on this one. Alright guys, bad news. I started the car, let it run for a few minutes, and you can see the puddle is back. I don't know if there's a reflection in there, but you know, after only a few minutes of running, if I paper towel like this corner right here, I can see a drip come from one of these lower rows. My guess is either a stone just made it through, like I mentioned earlier, or earlier in this video I was like ripping through splitter biscuits just because this track is so bumpy. And since the radiator shroud practically touches the splitter right there, I'm wondering if like the splitter just kind of getting hit was enough to like the shroud ended up like poking the radiator or something, you know. Yeah, so that kind of sucks. This is the first mechanical this car has had in I don't know how many seasons, aside from my tire at Lime Rock. But tons of positive takeaways. Let's get behind it. The S550 subframe swap, as you can see, worked freaking awesome. You know, the tires were probably a good chunk of my gains, obviously, but being able to put some camber in the rear and like make better use of the tires was positive as well. The 355s I think were nice. They helped the car kind of just get up and go a little bit better. So yeah, I think that's where I gotta wrap this one up. No racing on Sunday for me. I hope you guys learned something, and I'll see you in the next one.